Askarov shows a glimpse of the future and why everything's going to be okay, guys.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL's Tuesday's episode with Seth. Go check it out. I want to thank you, of course, for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everyday, all you have to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're talking about Askarov and his outstanding performance as the Sharks lose 3-2 to the Edmonton Oilers in overtime. Also going to be discussing Will Smith playing on the fourth line and why it's not a great idea, guys, and dig into the numbers of this game. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right. We got the first Askarov start of the this being up with the Sharks team. And Askarov was outstanding in this game, stopping a bajillion shots. It felt like he made 41 saves on 44 shots in the entire game. Led to 3 goals, but his expected goals against was 4.05. And Askarov today on Saturday really showed why he is expected to be the Sharks goalie of the future. And I know there's still people who are like, one, still can't believe they gave a first round pick for Askarov, and two, still aren't kind of like bought in on Askarov being the guy. And I don't know how you can not be after watching him with the Barracudas. I mean, I've watched basically every one of his starts with the Barracuda, and then watching him playing with the Sharks. Like, I don't know how you can't be sold on kind of what he's expected to do and what his projection is as a goalie. And yes, small sample size, all that fun stuff, but he's been like insanely good for the Sharks in his starts. So 3 starts, right? His goals saved above expected in his 3 starts is 1.8. If you take Vanchek, who's played the entire season with the Sharks, minus 5.2 goals saved above expected. Gorgiev, and his was really bad before the Sharks he even came to San Jose. He's at a minus 10.3. So even the goals saved above expected per 60. Askarov saving nearly 0.6 goals per 60 minutes. So that's half a goal he's taking off the board because of his play. And yes, 3 games, extremely small sample size, but Edmonton took it to the Sharks yesterday. Took it to the Sharks on Saturday. Completely dominated that game, especially the second period. And you were waiting for the dam to break, and it finally did break with 17 seconds left. But how many big saves did Askarov have? If it wasn't for Askarov, this game is like a 6-1 type of affair, 6-2 type of affair because of just the way he played this game. And yes, Edmonton missed some open nets, but Askarov, shutting down Connor McDavid on a 2-on-1, not many goalies live to tell the tale of that one. That was a huge save from him, and he robbed Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in a play. He made some big saves in that game, and there's going to be plenty of debate, I'm sure, in the comments, and people are watching this, and about, well, he shouldn't go down again. And I think there's 2 thoughts. What he has done I think he has proven more than worthy of being an NHL player. But you worry if it's the right situation for him, especially with the team in front of him, right? Again, he took 44 shots. Like he had to deal with. Actual shot attempts was 81 in all situations from Edmonton. And yes, Edmonton is a high-powered offense. They're pretty good. But is that the type of world you want your young goalie to live in when you are just getting bombarded with shots night in and night out? And yeah, and Askarov's a different dude, right? Like, it's clear that Askarov's a different dude, but I do wonder if the Sharks are trying to protect themselves from themselves by potentially sending Askarov down. And again, we don't know how long Vitek Vanecek's going to be out for. It's week to week. We have the holiday break, kind of little mini holiday break coming up here. I assume we'll probably be beginning of January when we'll see potentially Vitek Vanecek returns. I wonder if the Sharks don't want, because the worst thing you can do is put your goalie out, a young goalie, out in front of a terrible team and just get crushed by shots and lose his confidence. And I don't think Askarov's a lose your confidence type of guy. Just talking to him and seeing the way he plays, and he's always super smiley and bouncy and really happy. I don't see him as a lose your confidence type of guy. But if you're getting, bombarded by 40 shots a night with very little run support, it's going to wear on you. So, and again, we've talked about look at what the Barracuda did this offseason to really kind of set this team up for success. And yes, they made a lot of these moves before they traded for Askarov, but the plan was to have a much better team. And the defense on the Barracuda is great, an excellent defensive group. The Sharks defensive group, not so great. Some nice pieces. You like Jake Wallman, you like Shakir Mukhamadullin, Henry Thren. Some of the other guys definitely, have their struggles. So I do wonder if that is something that they're kind of keeping in mind. I mean, I would love to see Askarov continue to play for the rest of the season because I do think he's an NHL goalie who needs to play NHL games here. But I wonder, my thinking is, the reason that they send him back is because they probably just don't trust the team in front of him, which is a very fair thing, right? And we don't want to ruin our shiny new toy in Askarov. And so another thing to kind of keep in mind is, just in case they do keep Askarov up, wouldn't be surprised, especially after watching the Barracuda this weekend, if the Sharks go try to find another goalie to play with Romanov. And Romanov was outstanding on Friday night, and as the Barracuda lost 2-0 to the Bakersfield Condors, but he was absolutely outstanding in that game. Stood on his head, made plenty. He's a guy who I believe in can play big games for the Barracuda. Your ceiling is definitely not as high as if Askarov's in net with the Barracuda, but I thought Romanov made a really use that game as a statement to be like, I can win, I can be the guy if Askarov is up. But wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks / Barracuda do go out to try to find another goalie to kind of give a little, just another guy behind Romanov. That would be my, if they do decide to keep Askarov up, just something to think about. Carrier's looked pretty good in his time, but it's still a young goalie. Arundel, is Arundel. So just would it just something to kind of keep in mind if they do maybe look for another kind of veteran AHL goalie to help out Romanov, if Romanov's going to have to kind of take the bulk of the starts while Askarov is up, if Askarov stays up. But overall, though, I mean, you can't not look at Askarov's performance and just that's not the thing that you're talking about, because he was absolutely outstanding in that game. Stood on his head, making 23 saves in the second period alone, as the Sharks get absolutely caved in for 20 straight minutes. They did show a little bit of fight in the third, and we'll talk about kind of the numbers behind the game. But Askarov was easily the biggest story coming out of the Sharks game versus Edmonton. And, maybe he might just force their hand and say, like, he's too good. We got to play him because, like, he's just better than, if Mike Greer preaches competition, Ryan Warsofsky preaches competition, and he's just the better guy in a competition, at some point you have to go with that. So we'll continue discussing this game. We're going to talk about Will Smith next, and him on the fourth line, and why it didn't work out very well, and why that's not a big surprise. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. If you love sports, you're going to love Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in on the action. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30 million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. This week on Prize Picks, I'm eyeing the hockey board. Of course, I'm looking at Macklin Celebrini for a goal in Vancouver and his coming home. Plus, I also think Jack Hughes has more than 4 shots on goal because Jack Hughes is a machine. So it's simple to make my picks and have fun with friends while potentially cashing out fast. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, before we continue, we talk about Will Smith and why he needs to be playing elsewhere than the fourth line. Do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Again, proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. For your second listen, go check out one of the other great shows. Of course, you have Locked On NHL, which I'm on every Tuesday with Seth, or Locked On Fantasy Hockey. If your fantasy team needs some help, they got you covered over there. Who to add, who to drop, who to start, all that good stuff. They've got you covered over at Locked On Fantasy Hockey, wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right, Will Smith, who didn't have a great game. Like, let's be honest, like, Will Smith didn't have a great game. And we kind of saw the, like, well, Will Smith should be playing to the Barracuda argument popping up again. No, Will Smith's been playing really good, especially up to his injury. And even coming back from his injury, like, Will Smith has been playing pretty well. Yes, he's had his mistakes, right? Crucial turnover that leads to the Colorado win, right? In that game. But playing Will Smith on the fourth line, it's like, round peg, square hole thing. It just doesn't fit for his skill set. And for a young player like that, you saw in this game, I think, how tentative he was to make a mistake because he didn't want to get his ice time cut. Part of having these young players is knowing you're going to have to ride with the mistakes, right? Eklund, Celebrini, Zettel, like, all these guys have made mistakes. And yes, like, guys like Eklund and Zetterlund have also played on the third and fourth lines and quickly worked their way back up. But I think you have to treat Will Smith a little bit differently. And I don't want to say treat him with kid gloves, but you kind of do, to be honest, right? Like, Celebrini is a different dude. And, like, Celebrini, as weird as it sounds, like, Celebrini is kind of already proven to you that, like, you kind of know what you're getting with Macklin Celebrini. And I've said it before, and I'll continue to say, like, you can't compare the kids because they're just different. Macklin Celebrini is, like, showing he is a franchise changing, almost generational talent for what he's doing so far in his NHL career. And Will Smith is having a fine rookie season, but it's more of a typical rookie season where you're going to see these ups and downs, and you're going to have to ride with some of these downs and as well as celebrate the ups. But I think putting Will Smith on the fourth line sends the wrong message to him, right? Of, you make a mistake, we're going to punish you. And yes, you want to hold your young players accountable, right? I'm all for that. Like, hold your young players accountable, but I just think you put, like, I think it had the opposite reaction in this game of maybe, or the opposite in consequences in this game of what you're hopefully expecting, because he just looked tentative. Like, like, Will Smith is at his best when he is kind of pushing the pace, and that's still something he struggles with in the NHL, is that kind of, playing with that pace, and he will get there. We've seen him get there better, more and more. We've seen Will Smith start to kind of figure out when he can use his flashy moves and when he needs to kind of maybe simplify, as every hockey guy likes to say, simplify your game, et cetera, et cetera. But I do believe that placing Will Smith on the fourth line just had the exact wrong consequences for him. And I do hope Warsofsky, in a game where you got crushed offensively, right? Shot attempts, like I mentioned, 81-41 in all situations. Actual shots, 44-22. Scoring chances, and again, we'll talk, like, the numbers are heavily Edmonton's favorite. And you scored 2 goals and you tried to, like, poor cat on the, clothesline, hang on, baby, for the 40 minutes straight. And it came back to bite you. And yes, the Sharks just could not generate offense, especially in the second period. But Will Smith is going to be one of these, like, young offensive guys. And I was just a little surprised especially when the Sharks offense went to sleep, right? And could not generate anything offensively. Just, like, couldn't even get out. I was a little surprised that we didn't see Warsofsky try to mix things up and put his young dynamic playmakers like a Will Smith in a better position to succeed. Now, I'm not saying, like, I know people are already down. Like, I love Ryan Warsofsky. I love what he's doing. I think he's the right coach. Right? That doesn't mean, like, I can't nitpick and just complain about stuff. I still think Ryan Warsofsky is an excellent coach. And Ryan Warsofsky has forgotten more about hockey than I will ever know, even though he is younger than me. Like, again, but I would like to see Will Smith get a chance to play some more big time offensive minutes and, get a chance to play with some better offensive talent around him. And, I think Alex Wenberg is a perfectly fine center for him, but would like to see a little bit more creativity on his other side. Or, like, if we want to see, if the Lund line, if you want to break up the Lund line, even, like, they had a brutal game. Again, everybody had a brutal game on Saturday, but putting a guy like Mikael Granlund, who can be an offensive driver and also responsible defensively, I just think it's a tough situation to put Will Smith into a fourth line role, where he is just going to crush his confidence, expect him to perform. And then we're like, why didn't he do anything? Well, of course he didn't do anything. He played on the fourth line for 6 minutes, and and was scared to make a mistake because he didn't want to get scratched and lose his ice time. So it was a tough game from Will Smith. So well, better days are 100%. I still think Will Smith should be playing NHL games. I still, he played 9-15. Like, it's a tough night. And especially in a game, I know you're trying to hold on to a lead for, this. And even, like, Towers Foley played 13-23 in this game. Like, the minutes were very much we're trying to hold on to a lead situation. But it comes back to that, like, it's hard to win games 2-1. And the Sharks need to, for a team that struggles offensively, they need to continue to push for offense, and they weren't able to in this game, and that's why they ended up losing the game, is because they couldn't. After they scored their 2 goals, they were unable to find any sort of offense in this game, and putting your top potential offensive players on the fourth line again. So we'll dig into the numbers here a little bit more on this game, talk about what went so poorly, look at how the lines performed, and all that on your next episode, or on your next segment. I'm glad it's vacation, guys. So we'll talk about that here in just 1 second. Playoffs are almost here, but that doesn't mean it's too late to get on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel has so many ways for you to get a W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown. It's always fun. Rooting for touchdowns is fun. And how many points each team will score. It's thrilling. You can also bet on, of course, who will win the game, which players will score a touchdown, how many points each team will score. If you feel really solid about how many points you think a team's going to score, very much Patriots, not a lot of points. Usually feel pretty good about that. Same thing with the Browns, not a lot of points in this game. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance to at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, let's finish up by digging into the numbers behind this game. So very much a Edmonton dominated, and especially that second period. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But in 52 minutes, almost 53 minutes of 5v5 action, 68 to 39 shot attempts in favor of Edmonton. Corsi for 63.55 to 36.45, and Sharks started this game very well. Scored the first goal. Edmonton ties up. You respond right away. You're kind of controlling the shot attempts. And then Edmonton woke up and just proceeded to dominate for the next 45, 50 minutes of the game. Actual shots at 5-on-5, 35 to 21. Scoring chances for 27 to 17 in favor of Edmonton. 11 to 6 high danger chances. 3.13 to 1.53 expected goals for. One, I think that shows the brilliance of Askarov in this game to even take it to overtime and get a point out of this game. You can't talk enough about how great Askarov was in this game. He was bonkers. But that second period where things really went off the rails for the Sharks, right? You had 18 minutes of 5v5 time in this game. The shot attempts were 30 to 11 in favor of Edmonton. Actual shots on goal was 19 to 7 at 5-on-5. 14 to 6 scoring chances. Again, the Oilers had 27 the whole game. They had 14. They had over half of the scoring chances in that second period alone. 1.42 expected goals for to 0.48 for the Sharks. Just absolutely bonkers second period as the Oilers push to try to tie this game back up, and especially that the end of the second period where it was all oil. The Sharks just lived in their own zone. Absolutely bonkers performance by Edmonton in the second period. So digging into the forward lines behind this game. So we had the Lund line played 12:40. They got their lunch taken. 6 to 18 shot attempts, 4 to 7 actual shots. Expected goals for 0.13 to 0.43, with 3 to 8 scoring chances, 0 to 2 high danger chances. So again, the Oilers are really good. That's an offensive machine there. So those are going to happen. Cunnin, Wenberg, Goodrow played 10:43. Also got their lunch taken. 6 to 19 shot attempts, 3 to 11 actual shots on goal. Did have a goal, gave up a goal. 0.29 to 0.77 expected goals for. 4 to 10 scoring chances, 2 to 5 high danger chances for that line. And it felt like anytime that line was on the ice, McDavid was just jumping back over the boards with like rubbing his hands and just like cackling to himself. Because it seemed like he enjoyed playing against that line. So Toffoli, Celebrini, Kovalenko, 855, 8 to 10 shot attempts, a little bit closer. So 44% Corsi 4, 5 to 4 actual shots, 0 to 0 goals, 0.16 to 0.38 expected goals for, 1 to 4 scoring chances, and 1 to 3 high danger chances for that line. We saw a couple little Celebrini flashes here and there. Nothing like he did have a like one-on-one with Pickard. If he had scored there, probably is a different game because it's 3-1. And the way Askarov was playing, it felt like if the Sharks had gotten a 2-goal lead and the way Askarov was playing, they probably steal a win there, but they just could not find that extra gear, which has been a topic of conversation here over the past couple of weeks, especially in the it was the second period, but would have loved to see him to finish that off there, but I think the puck rolled on him a little bit too as well. So Will Smith, Nico Sturm, Carl Grundstrom played 431, 7 to 3 shot attempts. They actually outshot their opponents, 4 to 3 actual shots, 0.08 to 0.15 expected goals for, 3 to 1 scoring chances, and 0 to 0 high danger chances for that line. We spent a lot of time talking about Will Smith already. So just the offense unable to, especially the second period, unable to get anything going. And if they'd found one more goal, we're probably talking about how the Sharks stole that game. And Askarov is amazing. Well, Askarov is amazing, but just couldn't find that extra gear for the Sharks. So as for the defensive pairs, I have not looked at the Corsi, and I probably Wallman Ceci led the way with 37.5% Corsi 4, 12 shot attempts, 420 allowed. Fraro Liljegren, 30% Corsi 4, 6 to 14. And then Thrun Ruda, 20% Corsi 4, 5 to 20 shot attempts. So again, when you get outshot heavily, those numbers are going to show up. So I do wonder if Mukhamadullin gets back. I hope Mukhamadullin gets back into the lineup. Right. You got to bench the kid for a second, watch the game from upstairs, as you can watch his team just get absolutely annihilated in their own zone for the entire game. But I hope Mukhamadullin gets back in for the Vancouver game, especially Vancouver, who's really been struggling. It would be nice if get a win here in Vancouver. You're going to feel really good about yourself going into the Christmas break, especially been very, very, a lot of close, like almost wins. If you get a win against Vancouver, get a nice feel good about yourself going into the Christmas break. So that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow to break down the Sharks Vancouver game schedule this week. So like I said, we'll have an episode tomorrow, Tuesday, about the Vancouver game. We'll be back Thursday probably Thursday around lunches. You'll probably see an episode drop. And then we'll have an episode Friday night after the Sharks game when they play. They play on Friday night. So we'll have an episode then as well for a recap there. So with the holidays, spend some time with my family, et cetera, et cetera. So Tuesday, Thursday afternoon, Friday night is kind of your episode schedule right now. So, like I said, that's gonna be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you're following wherever you get podcasts, and of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.